Chapter 21.
Her name is Purge.
Sully grinned.
She's our
The retired Commodore glanced over at the Time Lord.
friend, companion.
He asked.
Transportation.
The man in red grinned.
And a whole lot more.
Purge offered from overhead. The alien in the red fedora held up a hand.
I kid because I care.
Bro looked around. It might be right inviting in here, like a lounge or a bar or something. How can it be so big?
I'm an IO-TARDIS.
Purge announced to the young Jadoon.
Type 99X.
This meant nothing to the large talking rhinoceros. I'll be bro at your service, ma'am.
Pleased to meet you. Bro, is it?
Purge verified. Bro started following around his curious rock dog. It be. I'm your bro.
He's a Jadoon, Pudge.
The man in red stepped up to his mahogany and ruby control console, then began typing. Purge seemed to wait a second to respond.
So I've gathered. Is he staying long?
At that very moment, for an unfathomable reason, the Time Lord in the crimson suit became overly melancholy, and his histrionic,
Oh, perfect. In my 350 years. That is not your accurate age.
His time machine corrected him.
Close enough. You see, Purge, in my centuries as a traveler among the expanse, time, and space, out mingling with the galaxy clusters, watching stars be born, finding treasures fantastic enough to satiate any desire, both sublime and gross, what I've learned is...
The IO-TARDIS of time cut him off.
You know, every time I hear this Capez Il Necloricvis traveler, it truly brings a yawn to my lips. Hey, you don't have damned lips. I just want to know if I need to make the rhino and his stone puppy a grass cafeteria. Oh, sure, that's fine.
The man in red abruptly became quiet, engrossed in display readouts scrolling across the podium's terminals. After several moments of complete quiet, Sully shook his head and gripped Bro on the shoulder.
Show you around.
Mr. Blue, Chapter 47. Saber's image abruptly vanished, and Mr. Blue pressed a button. The doorway to the Endless materializing on the other side of Purge's immense interior. Sully began to follow him, as did the Rapids, when the Time Lord in the azure suit stopped them.
I meant the Royal, as in, shall we? Yet, no worries, I shall return momentarily.
His wild blue eyes wandered toward the Endless, childlike. The rest of his body followed. Sully shook his head.
What do we do in the meantime?
Overhead, Purge began playing the song In the Meantime from the Earth band Space Hog.
Come up with a name for the Rapids. Something catchy.
Mr. Blue disappeared in short order, as did the doorway to the Endless. Traveler, Mr. Blue, Chapter 47, Part 2. Mr. Blue walked over to the Endless bar, proper, and sat down on his favorite stool. He typed away on his temporal wrist device for several moments, eventually looking up to figure out whether the bartender, cute goth death girl with the Egyptian eye tattoo, was going to get him his drink or not. She wasn't tending bar today. Arms crossed and staring down at the inattentive Time Lord in the blue suit was his future self, Traveler Black, or gruff old number 5, as Mr. Blue thought of him privately. The alien's second incarnation stared up at his fifth.
Well, are you going to get me a damn pint of Guinness, or what?
The traveler in the perfect black suit wordlessly slapped Mr. Blue across the face.
Oi! Hey, that was my good side!
Although Time Lords are incredibly denser, tougher, and stronger than virtually any other humanoid in existence, barring polyalomorphs such as vampires and were-creatures, Mr. Blue feigned indignity, pain, and wounded pride as he caressed his reddened cheek.
Do you have any idea what's going on?
Mr. Black demanded. Mr. Blue answered.
I have just assaulted me, for starters.
Black, again, folded his arms, this time letting his chin drop to his chest.
Oh me, we have a problem.
Across the empty bar, Behind the stage on which sat the dusty grand piano hung a dark curtain with a simple yet large exclamation point emblazoned upon it. Suddenly, it flew open, revealing the Violet Stranger. His lips were curled up in a vaguely superior grin, but his shark eyes remained vicious and glowing purple as they settled upon his second incarnation. In response, Mr. Blue jumped up from the bar stool, activating the laser sword function of his time watch. The neon indigo blade instantly and directly aimed at his Valeyard, the Violet Stranger, or Nasty Number 6, as Mr. Blue privately came to know his sixth future incarnation. The Violet Stranger rolled his eyes and walked to the bar.
Enough!
Traveler Black ordered his second self.
He's only here to provide information. I can fight amongst myselves later.
Mr. Blue sighed as his blue laser sword disappeared. The Violet Stranger sat down, sarcastically patting the seat immediately next to him. Traveler version 2 shook his head at Traveler version 6 and smoothed his lapis tie as he sat, then regarded Traveler version 5. Black continued.
The Violet Stranger and I have a mission for you.
Oh, come on!
Mr. Blue was immediately indignant.
I've only just now... We have to team up on this one,
came the Violet Stranger's queerly musical voice. Mr. Blue had had enough, so he slapped the bar with both hands.
What? Us three? You are kidding me?
The black-clad stranger shook his head.
Nope, I need you to meet up with the man in red.
I know, so I can inform him of the Crimson Arm of Time.
Mr. Blue began, twirling his fingers, as if impatient. Get to the point already. Black waved an arm dismissively.
You've already done that.
Mr. Blue's eyes widened.
Excuse me? Come again?
The Violet Stranger leaned closer toward his second incarnation, as if to share a damning secret, and Mr. Blue, of course, leaned away.
The beauty of Endless is that it's locked in a state of temporal grace. A TARDIS without a TARDIS, you know. I'm not working with him.
Mr. Blue held up a hand with finality. Discussion over. The Violet Stranger grinned.
Fine by me.
Black shook his head.
You aren't. We've received orders from the architect that what is needed here is a prime tribunal.
At this, Mr. Blue leaned back, running his fingers over his platinum blonde crew cut.
The old Time Lord Power of 3, ain't it?
Traveler Black agreed.
Mr. White, Mr. Blue, and Mr. Red.
At this, Mr. Blue seemed deflated.
Mr. White wasn't even a Time Lord.
His fifth incarnation held up a hand.
Be that as it may, our orders are clear.
The stranger in black finished. There was a long pause as these bizarre orders sank in. Mr. Blue finally looked up.
Okay then, so what's next, you daft bastard?
Mr. Blue raised an eyebrow.
Good. That's exactly easier than I thought it'd be. I used to be so damn pig-headed.
Oi!
Mr. Blue interjected. The stranger in black placed his hands on the bar.
Right, fair enough. First, you're going to pick up the man in red.
Mr. Blue leered up at him.
Now, I wouldn't be a good little CHRONARCH if I didn't ask, but what could possibly be so horrible that you need 3 travelers?
As response, Traveler Black deferred, looking over to the Violet Stranger. Time Lord in the purple suit answered, without looking at his younger selves.
Oh, you'll see.